Hello and welcome to Startline, brought to you by the Manx Motorcycle Club. I'm Beth Espy and this podcast is about everything road racing, both on the Isle of Man and further afield. From the races and the teams to the organisers and officials, it is all here on Startline. Thank you as ever so much for downloading this episode. If you can follow the Startline Road Racing podcast on Facebook, that would be amazing. You can find all the details of the latest episodes, also some extra content on there as well. Today then, we are with Charlie Hopkins. Now, he was a Manx Grand Prix newcomer back in 2025, so we talk a little bit about his journey to get there. We also talk art, auctions and tea.
From a place called Wilsden, which is Bingley, Bradford, West Yorkshire.
And would you consider yourself a typical Yorkshireman?
Probably, yeah. probably try to scrimp in areas and probably got one of the stronger Yorkshire accents in paddock, I think. Someone came over with a microphone when we were up on Startline and then I heard myself back on radio and I'm like, Jesus, you sound horrendous.
No, an accent is absolutely brilliant. Notice you're also drinking a cup of tea. Has that got to be Yorkshire tea as well?
It is actually Yorkshire tea as well. I'll get it out of the cup and prove it if you want.
From your point of view, the right way to make tea, is it milk in first or afterwards?
I'm milk second, but never really worried about it too much.
People get very upset about these things, Charlie. So we're talking then at the start, really, as the racing season of 2026 is kicking off. I mean, let's take a look back at 2025, first of all, for you. MGP newcomer, was it everything you hoped it would be?
Yeah, usual script. Everyone tells you hardest things actually getting there and whatever can go wrong will, and it imploded fairly catastrophically for me, work-wise and that. No stop story or all like that. It just all went tits up last minute, but then the usual thing that happened is friends, family, all that sort of stuff, pulled everything together and we ended up there and we finished everything. So yeah, we can't argue whatsoever. It wasn't what it were meant to be, but it never is it?
No, I think that's the thing. I mean, the more conversations I have like this, the more I find out that actually it's okay to have a plan, but it almost needs to be made of jelly, doesn't it? Because you kind of just have to go with whatever happens.
Just make it up. Just make it up.
Take us right back then to where this dream all started for you.
Sort of by accident, really. I mean, I grew up around bikes, not a racing family or anything like that. My dad always had bikes, and I sort of grew up in the era of sort of DJ was a family friend and friend of my dad's, and sort of Louise Jeffries, and then Acker and Uchi, all that sort of group was all from round here and sort of all knocked about together and were, all round my dad's age. So it was sort of, I were always DJ were what I only knew sort of growing up. But yeah, we weren't a racing family or anything like that. And then in 2020, obviously everyone decided to do something different in COVID. So I had a motorbike license for a road bike, but then everyone bought a pit bike, didn't they? It was future. So I ended up buying a pit bike and went to B&B in 2020, and it sort of just stemmed from there. A bit of pit biking and this and the other, and then met a pal called Mike Carr, who's lad raced, and then there was John Boy there, who's Harley McCabe's dad, who races in sport bike, and then you meet more people, and then you bump into other folk, and it just spirals out of control, doesn't it? It probably never really helped, I worked with Craig, who Craig was a double Manx Grand Prix winner, so he started doing a bit of track daying again, and then we went to do Portimao back like fair while ago. Before I started racing, so probably like 21, 22, and we did Portimao, and then it were all right. We'll buy a race bike, and which were an old, never actually raced it actually, and then it just spirals, doesn't it? And then next thing you're there. I'd always wanted to, when I was a kid, do Oliver's Mount because the Dave Jeffries thing, but I'd never even watched there, and then it were, oh, well, you've got to have a national licence to do that, and then you do Oliver's Mount, and then you do bloody Manx Grand Prix, don't you? I don't really know how it happened, but I didn't typically grow up thinking I desperately, desperately, desperately want to go round Isle of Man, but then when I started racing, it was then right, I've got to go there now. But yeah, you had Illy on the other week, and it's probably a little bit different from Illy, where that's been his dream since day dot. It developed into that dream for me.
What was the family reaction to that then, Charlie? Obviously, you've grown up around bikes, you say. I mean, what a person to have as a family friend, but David Jeffries and everything that's sort of tied up with what he achieved. But yeah, I'm just curious what your family thought about you taking that path.
Well, my dad's a man of few words. Well, he's not a man of few words. He's got too much to say, but he were a few man of few words. But he is when it comes to me deciding to do something, because half the time he realises there's just no point talking to me about it anyway, because once I've made my mind up, it's sort of happening. My mum didn't take it particularly great, but she doesn't understand motorcycles whatsoever. She's never had any interest in them. She just sees what people see on telly, don't you? And they don't really get it. And my missus, Lizzie, took it really well, to be fair, to an extent. She did put a caveat on it that we had to get engaged, but I've still managed to swerve that. So, yeah, and my little lad thinks it's cool, doesn't he? Yeah, the reaction were probably all right in general. I can't say everyone were over the moon about it, but no one were like, "You're not doing it." It was just one of those things that I sheltered my mum from it a bit, to be fair. I haven't let her look at it on YouTube or anything like that. She has absolutely zero idea what it is. She has actually been to one motorbike race, which were at Donington Park with F900s. And she thought motorbike racing was just scramblers in a field, so when she watched that, her head fell off. So I thought, well, last thing she needs to do is go to Scarborough or Isle of Man, keep her out of the way of it, and don't let my brother show her any YouTube videos out.
Yeah, I think that's probably best. She just thinks you're poodling around in a field when you come over here. I'm just curious, obviously, we're speaking at the moment. I can see some photographs behind you on the wall. Who's that?
That's me. That's me. We got it done after Manx, because obviously you've got Tracy that does all newcomers pictures and everything, and it actually replaced. I've got it down here actually. This was sort of this isn't even scripted either. This is just the state of my house. So that used to be there. It only got swapped a couple of weeks ago, and I haven't found a home for that. And that was probably a little bit where it started. That was the first time I went to TT. So that's at Gooseneck with my pal. So that were on wall, and then next thing I raced it, so I had to swap it.
Who's the rider in the other picture then?
It's a pal of mine that lives up road called Lee. He's on, I think he's on an XR or something. What were he on that? He's on something that's not a sports bike. He's on an XR, yeah. So that were first time I went and did mountain one way. So that's been on there for bloody God knows how many years. And then it's just been swapped. But I think Frankie's going to end up that within his bedroom just because he's obsessed.
I just wonder, if you sort of rolled the clock back 12 months, Charlie, and just thinking about those pictures you've got of yourself racing on the mountain course behind you. Obviously, you were in the process then. You knew it was going to happen. You'd sort of probably done your first newcomers weekend, but how do you think you'd feel if you went back 12 months and just like actually now you're looking at yourself at those pictures?
Yeah, I think it's a bit hard to comprehend, isn't it? I mean, it's everyone always says, how do you look back on it? And then you don't look back on it. Everyone thinks it's like hell raising and all that sort of carry on. It's more of a whirlwind. It's not what you expect it's gonna be when you get there. All the carnage and stress and everything that it is to get there. The calmest part about it for me is actually riding around it. So looking back at it 12 months on, it'd be more just chill out, get there. You're gonna get there one way or another. It's just very stressful to actually do it. And yeah, probably looking back, try and enjoy it a bit more, as daft as it sounds. I think you build it up that much in your head, you maybe don't understand. You just need to take a breath and enjoy what you're doing. Sounds a bit vague. You can't explain it half the time.
There's so much dependent on it. I mean, you mentioned obviously work sort of riled up nearer the time and you're trying to.
No, imploded would be
Oh,
the
I was trying to
a
be.
bit, yeah. No, it wasn't a positive explosion.
Oh, right. But it's like, I
Uh,
mean, that's real life, isn't it? And everything
yeah.
that goes alongside it and family and everything. And I guess there must be times where you sit there and think, what am I doing?
Well, every day, whether it's motorbike related or not. But yeah, you know what? It's every time. It's when you bring van back home, isn't it? And you've got to unload it, and you're thinking, why am I putting my son through it every time? I'm meant to be going down to Donington Park tomorrow, and we're at a birthday today, and I'm like, why am I even considering rolling around on floor at garage now? To put him back at van to do 2 10-lap races, a 3-hour round trip. I'm like, why am I even doing it? And you can't. Outside world just think you're absolutely mental, aren't they? Well, it is just mental, isn't it? I mean, I'm quite fortunate this year. A little bit of stress is taken out of my hands because I'm ready for Robbie Sylvester. So not having to do that, the situation I'm in at the moment, I don't have that bike anymore. Don't really have a bike to ride, so it worked out. It timed perfectly well with doing something with Robbie because I ran out of Robbie's awning last year, and then yeah, I'm going to ride his twin, and we'll be at the classic side of things as well. But he's worked out really well for me. He's someone that Craig rode for back in the day at the TT, so that's how I've come to meet Robbie, and we based ourselves out of his awning. We're family and friends. There's a viral TikTok video somewhere, John Boy painting ZXR 400 fairings behind toilet block because that arrived at the classic TT in a box because I'd fallen off it at Derby. So I've fallen off of it at Derby, so we brought it over in a box basically and built it at the classic, and then we had to go down. I can't remember the name at big car parts place at Douglas. So we had to go down there, bought an air gun, and John Boy is a painter. He ended up painting it in car park, and someone put it on TikTok because we had glorious weather. So I mean, he looks ridiculous in a pair of shorts, no top on, painting a set of fairings behind a toilet in Manx, and we're meant to be trying to look half professional. But someone put it on TikTok, and then I was getting messages, and I don't really have TikTok, and I'm like, why is he painting a bike in car park behind toilets? So quite entertaining. I got people sending it to us.
And that's it, isn't it? You know, there's just so many things that are thrown at you, but mentioning Robbie there and his experience and wealth of knowledge, obviously having been there himself, but also looking after to people who are going through it, I guess that is invaluable.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it were might have been second night of practice. My head fell off. I got a little bit lost somewhere because it were a bit darker. I think I were on circuit with Ollie Dean at time. So I got a little bit lost, and then I was fine again. And then came through Kirk Michael, and I thought bike had shit itself or something. Anyway, pulls back in, tells Robbie, and he's like, "Well, where were it?" I says, "Oh, it sounds like exhaust cracked or da, 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 da." Kirk Michael went, "Oh, stop worrying about it." He goes, "It's reverb off at building. You just won't have had it before." I'm like, "All right," but I were ready for getting off at bike and checking exhaust, but straight away he went, "Oh no, there's no up with it." So that's what it is. And with Robbie yesterday, and he took me round in the van after a couple of nights of practicing, and says, "Oh yeah, you do it at that bit there." So I've been quite fortunate where I've had him and Craig to lean on. But then obviously the newcomers weekend is the main thing. You get it from 5 different angles, I suppose, if you probably about the right amount of coaches there. So, whether you're with Johnny Milky or whoever, everyone, you pick a bit up off each of them, don't you? The newcomers weekend, I actually found them quite enjoyable because you end up having cracking car together as well then. You just do it when it's bloody freezing cold and generally raining, that's the only problem. And I think we got given a fleet of Hyundai i10s. A 5 up in a Hyundai i10, I mean, it couldn't get out of gooseneck.
It's a really interesting point you made, though, there, just thinking about, that first time going round, all of those thoughts going around your head, because it's one thing having the machine ready, physically, you being fit enough for it.
Go easy with being fit enough for it, Jesus.
Hopefully. Shall we just add a hopefully in there? That sort of mental preparation must be something, again, that I suppose you can't anticipate how you're going to react to a given situation. And presumably, given what you'd obviously gone through in the run up, sleep probably wasn't at its best. And, you're sort of running on empty almost, aren't you?
You know what? It's probably the reason anyone goes bike racing is the bit that probably attracts me to it. Because as soon as you're actually up there, bloody phone ain't ringing. You're not getting an email, so you're on your own for an hour and a half, aren't you? You know, Frankie's not kicking off. He wants to go on his push bike. Mrs. ain't speaking here because you got your helmet on and phone's not ringing. You ain't getting an email, which ultimately is probably why people ride motorbikes, isn't it? Because you're on your own and you got a bit of peace and quiet.
It's a very extreme way to
Yeah.
try and, have no contact with people, Charlie.
Well, no, but I mean motorcycling in general, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whether you're riding at course, I think that's probably why a lot of people ride bikes because it is a end of the day, it's a bit of time at your send and it's something enjoyable, isn't it? Which is probably why people ride them in grand scheme of things, because at the end of the day, they haven't invented cars with roofs for a reason, have they? Motorbikes are there purely as a lot of the time as something for pleasure, aren't they? Otherwise, you just drive around in your car. They're not convenient, are they? You've got to wear a load of kit that you look ridiculous and can't walk into, shopping. Or you can just jump in your car. So you're not doing, you're not riding a motorbike for goodness of your health, are you?
That description, I think, is, yeah, encapsulates it perfectly.
Yeah.
Um, did you have a goal that you sort of set yourself for last year? I mean, you said you finished every race, but was it something that you really wanted to achieve last year, and did you do it?
Uh, well, you're not meant to set your times and this, that, and the other, are you? But I think I'd said to myself, and I had mentioned it to a couple of people, and everyone says, "Oh no, don't look at lap times," but everyone does. Everyone says, "Oh no, I never looked at my lap times." Well, I think everyone does. But I'd always says if I could do 100 mile an hour on twin, I'd be happy. And we did that. We overachieved on that. We did it on the 400, which were my happiest memories of that 400 because like we say, it was built out of a box, and then it finished everything, and I think we're 22nd or something like that. Granted, you've got a couple breakdown, but hey ho. Yeah, probably a little bit gutted. I just missed out on my replica in twin because fairing came off on. I've actually got a record at the Manx Grand Prix. I had the longest pit stop, and someone has wrote it on website. I couldn't believe it. I thought I'm getting coverage for having the longest pit stop. It was like about just shy of 4 minutes or something. So we'd come into the pits and they've got them stupid wings on them, haven't they? So one of the wings had come loose. So poor Robbie's on deck trying to lock wire it and tape it up with a marshal flanking him. And I think, obviously, in heat of it, I think Robbie told Marshall, get out of the way. It were actually something one of the coaches says to us, look, if it's not your day, it's not your day. Sometimes it's just worth getting off. And I were half getting off of it. And then Robbie went, no, you're not. Go out and just enjoy having the last 2 laps. You only get to come here once a year. So we set back off and we just missed out. But that's the thing. And that's what makes it different, isn't it? I think if it ran perfectly, there probably won't be as much incentive to go. At the end of the day, it's an endurance race, isn't it? And I think sometimes you forget that.
When did you make the decision that you were gonna be back for 26?
I was desperate to ride my 400 round there again. Weirdly, when we get to Ramsey, I always feel like I'm near enough back, and there's like 10 mile to go, but I don't know why, but I do. But I come into Ramsey and I was like, bloody hell, it's last time going over the mountain on 400, and then we'd actually had an iffy first lap because it was the race that actually run because then they started because it had been damp all day. So it were first time, so we had that great weather. I'd pulled up to the line and there's this list of damp patches in a lot of places that I'm like, bloody hell, can I actually remember where that one is? Because all names, I'm like, oh my God. So first lap we sort of tickled round, and then the second lap, obviously you'd seen it then because I'd not seen a wet patch in 2 weeks because we had glorious weather. I mean, we were swimming in Bay at Laxey, which we've since found out's worst one to swim in. Where
Character building, it's fine, it's good for your immunity.
yeah, so we've been swimming in that, but, yeah, 400. When I got to Ramsey, I was like, "Bloody hell, it's the last time I'm going over mountain on this little 400," and I were desperate to sort of go back with it, actually done properly, looking well, and to have another go on that. I just smiled all the way around on that old bike for some reason. It just made me laugh. They're not blooming slow, these old 400s, so I don't know why I enjoyed it. I just did, but I rode it the other day at, Mallory Park and had exactly the same feeling when I got on it. And until I blew it up, and it's Robbie's sorting that out for me now. So yeah, I were devastated with myself, but I mean, it had needed refreshing before it went back to the Isle of Man. But yeah, that's the bike I'm looking forward to riding again the most because the classic just I thought it was fantastic this year, the event, and then you've got the John McGuinness 30 years thing this year. I think it'll be if we can sneak the weather well like we did last year. I think it'll be fantastic.
Yeah, we are doing sun dances as we speak. It's glorious at the moment. So yeah, fingers crossed because it does make all the difference, doesn't it? Especially when you say, you're there once a year and for something that's completely out of your control to sort of put any sort of spanner in the works. Another tough thing to have to deal with, isn't it? But it's the reality of racing here on the island. I'm just wondering, so you mentioned Frankie. How old is he?
Frankie, he's 5 going on 6, so he's been at rugby this morning and then we've turfed him out of house because he wanted to be on podcast. I mean, he didn't come to the Manx Grand Prix last year because I sort of says, "First year, let's just not introduce another thing into the mix." But we're over all the time because I'm friends with Illy Quayle. He rode my F900 at a round, met him through some friends through racing, and we've ended up being good pals. So Frankie ends up over there all the time, and Phil at Manx Legend Racing's, he's Frankie's little pal because Phil just feeds him sweets. So I'm actually going down to Donington tomorrow to see some of the Isle of Man contingent and some friends. But I mean, Illy's bloody snuck it, hasn't he? It looks like glorious weather at Cookstown, and then it were changeable last week at Oliver's Mount. I didn't ride, but I don't think I got a dry lap at Oliver's Mount until it's about my 3rd visit, so he's little ginger lad's getting all good weather.
How do you reckon you'll feel if Frankie decides this is what he wants to do?
Eh, you know what? I'm not trying I'm trying to keep him away from it a bit, not because I don't want him to ride. Obviously, met loads and loads of kids through the sort of B&B side that have come through it, and what I don't want him to do is do it too young and then not enjoy it. I mean, I started really late, racing-wise, but, he's got a Revy, he boots about on that. He's actually just been given a set of leathers. He's desperate to get a mini motor and rode a little motocross bike and stuff. So I think the plan of attack will be I probably will get him a little mini moto, or I say I'll make his granddad get him a mini moto, he can buy it, and probably take him to like Fat Cats at Doncaster on my day off or whatever, and just have a little rip round me and him, and then if he wants to keep going, go. But I'm not interested just yet in chucking him straight into B&B paddock and him falling out of love with it or anything. I just want him to do it for fun, and then if it develops, him to develop it, but certainly won't keep him away from it. I think it's one of them, you tell someone not to do it, it's big red button thing, isn't it? They're gonna do it.
It certainly seems to sum you up, I reckon, Charlie, that talking about yourself there. Um, I imagine that the paddock environment and we hear it quite often is a really magical place for a kid to be around. There's a lot of freedom in there, isn't there? And there's a real friendship too.
Well, he literally doesn't know he's born. I think it were last year we went to watch Harley at Alton Park, and we took his little Revy, and, they don't know they're born. We pay like 250 quid for day to ride round Alton Park, and they're on a little 15-mile-an-hour electric bikes doing laps on an evening on it. So, I mean, he came to his first B&B meeting at, like, 10-month old or 18-month old or something, so he's sort of grown up with it, so to him, it's just normal, he just rides his push bike around. Well, you're not allowed to ride push bikes anymore, they've banned them, so that stopped going. But yeah, you just, like, kinda do what they want, they're locked in, aren't they? So it is good for kids, isn't it? I think I still see it, so I were with Harley yesterday, and he's been in British Superbike paddock now since I think he were 11 or 12, and he's still got that sort of same friends group that have gone up through classes together, and it is good, it's a good environment for him.
So will he be coming this MGP then?
Funnily enough, he is. He's coming for a couple of days practice week, and then I think his grandma's gonna take him home for a multitude of reasons, really. I want him to sort of see me ride round because I think that's cool, and he has actually been to a TT already as Frankie. We got playing over one year, so I want him to see his dad go round, but then I want him to go home because obviously all fun stuff happens at race week. I don't know any babysitters yet in Alabama.
They go feral. It's absolutely fine. They'll be you mentioned obviously TikTok and that video going viral, but the social media presence is a really important part of being a racer these days. That almost a responsibility to the people who support you, your sponsors and whatever, to show them what you're doing and how much you appreciate that support. Are you a
I
social
don't
media
do it.
whiz? I don't know why I
I
knew that was going to be the answer, to be honest.
Yeah, so I've got FaceTube, and I use it, I do use it
Did
for
you call it
family.
FaceTube on purpose?
Yeah, it's joking,
All right,
innit?
okay, just checking, just checking.
But I don't pimp myself out there for sort of, racing carry on or all like that. I do try to sort of not do a great deal on there. I have got people that have helped me out massively, and it's more through friendship than, for what they get out of it, 'cause nicest possible way, me having top-notch fire flood restoration, he probably ain't doing many fire flood restorations off the back of me riding around with that on my chest. He's supporting that because he's a friend and he's passionate about the sport. So, yeah, the people that helped me last year, and I will forget these, obviously, we had Robbie helping us, Illy and Milky have given me pizza and putting me up a couple of times. Then you've got Robbie Gibbo, which is Abbey Access Scaffolding, which he actually helps out Illy as well, and I think he helps out Ali as well. My uncle Rick, which is the bloke with bloody fag that's on my leathers because he's never got a fag out of his mouth. Sam Norton knocked me off he can have a shout out. He knocked me off at Derby, and I had to get a set of leathers made. So my uncle paid for them for my uncle Rick, so he ended up with himself smoking on my leathers, which is great advert that, isn't it? But yeah, except to be fair, Sam Norton, because my leathers didn't then arrive in time, I ended up borrowing his, but it must have been when he were a lot thinner because I don't think he ever been in them leathers. And then, yeah, my mate Andy Kay, he does palletised distribution. I mean, he's not getting out off the back of me either, is he? So he came over, drove the van for me. Well, he insured the van for me and drove the van for me and taxed the van and everything. Because obviously I was a little bit bereft of a van at that point, and he took 2 weeks out of his life to come and spend it over there with me, buy me dinner. And then, yeah, me dad and his pals all sort of came over, and they'd got a house, so I had somewhere to sleep. So yeah, I'd love to do a big sponsor shout out, but it's all me pals that have either got businesses or family that sort of got it together in end, and likes of John Boy and Harley coming over, painting bike in paddock, getting you a set of tyres, Phil getting you a set of tyres. It's all dribs and drabs. What I couldn't believe is the support that you get from the Manx Club and the newcomers, as the back of newcomer. Bloody hell, I genuinely, I was flabbergasted when you get this check. I'm like, Jesus Christ, someone's giving me money to ride my bike here. So what they do is absolutely unbelievable. The amount of money Tracy raises, Manx Motor Club races, however it's done with the auctions. I actually bought some from auction myself.
What did you buy?
It was a picture of John, to be fair, but it was on the pattern. It was one of the painted pictures of John signed on pattern. And I don't know why, I thought, I'm going to bid on that because that looks far too cheap. And I ended up getting it for like 30 quid or something. And I was like, Jesus Christ, why aren't people bidding on some of this? So I don't know how much Tracy's doing with the auctions or anything this year. But yeah, if there is any go up, bid on it, because there's some proper good stuff on there, which if you were at one of these evening with John or whatever, or evening with Uchi, you'd end up paying a fortune for it. And I ended up with this lovely framed thing for next to nothing.
Have you got it on the wall yet?
I think it's in Frankie's room, actually.
I love the fact you're looking around as if you're surprised. Oh, hang on a minute.
I think it were actually there, but Lizzie painted kitchen other day, so she mustn't have put them all back up yet. There's a photo of Harley in Frankie's room, because he's like his #1 fan, and John were over there on the pattern.
Add it to the list of jobs to do this weekend. Been done and
Birthday
whatever.
party, and then straight down to Donington Park. I were hoping this birthday party would get cancelled, because it'd be nice to just go down and have evening in sun with Phil and friends from Isle of Man.
Never mind, there might be pass the parcel. You'll have fun at
Yeah.
that. It's been brilliant talking to you. Just remind us where people can follow you on social media.
You just have to search for me personally. So I don't even so Charlie Hopkins. I don't even think Robbie's got a. I don't know if he's got a VRS racing page or not. If he has, I'm not on it. I like to tell him.
Just best of luck for over the next few weeks and months. What are you planning on being back over here probably before
Yeah,
MGP?
so plan of attack is obviously I want to get over and see Illy and everyone. I want to try sneak a Derby in, because it's just feels like a weekend away at Seaside, doesn't it? So we'll try get a couple of Scarboroughs in. There's a Cadwell, I think, that we're meant to be doing, and try get a Derby in. We'll be over anyway. I'm coming over for like a whistle stop. I'm doing TT this year, but only for like 2 days, doing it completely differently. I'm not bringing a bike, or I aren't paying to put a bloody bike on ferry or anything like I have done, because I never end up riding it anyway when I go. I ride it off at ferry and park it up and end up in paddock all weekend. So I'm actually going to just come over as a foot passenger, have a couple of days, and go back as a foot passenger, and just catch up with some pals, and that'll be it really. Just do what we need to do to get there this year. Try get another run out on Robbie's bike. Probably end up try be a little bit more of a fan as well. And I've never been to North West, so I'd like to go over and try catch a day there to watch Illy racing and follow what Harley's doing, because he's been second in both tests for Sport Bike Championship this year, so it'd be quite cool to see what happens at Alton Park in a week or so's time.
Charlie Hopkins, and do follow his progress on social media. The links as ever on the podcast page. You can also talk to him about art and tea as well. Looking forward to seeing him back here on the Isle of Man later this year. Well, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Startline, brought to you by the Manx Motorcycle Club. If you would like to be involved in a future episode, you can find me on social media, or you can drop me an email. It's beth@startline.im. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.